Hey, I'm Rick. I'm one of the contestants on Destination X. This is my recap for episode 3. Spoiler, I make it through. A lot of people have been asking, what's it like with the showmance between Shayne and Ally? Is it real? Is it hurting their gameplay? Well, let me give you a little, behind the scenes. What's it like on the bus when there's a showmance going on? First, it was Josh and Ally, right? They had instant connection. You saw it on the plane. We saw it as the fellow game players. They were all over each other. The edit didn't show how close they were getting, but my bunk was right next to Josh. Like, they were close. But now, Josh is gone. Enter Shayne, and it's happening again. And you see the hand holding. Sorry, there's a siren going by. The hand holding, like, it was awkward. You saw Biggie and I going, bah, like, really? That's what you're going to be doing? At first, I'm like, great. Do your thing. You're young. You think you're in love. Awesome. It's going to distract you from the clues. It's going to get in the way of you looking around because you're going to be looking at the tail of the person you're chasing. Great. Let them get distracted. Like, the gameplay was so intense. Like 24 hours a day, we're looking for clues, running the clues over in my mind. I don't know how you'd be entertaining a relationship. And like when I'm in a relationship, I've been married for 25 years. You're thinking about the other person. On this bus, you have to be thinking only about the clues and yourself and getting it through the next challenge. I don't know how Shayne or Ally could have the bandwidth to do a relationship and a game. So at first I was like, great, let them distract themselves with each other. But then as it progressed, I realized, whoa. This is an extra alliance that they have now. Biggie and Shayne are close, so they're sharing clues. Ty and Ally are close, they're sharing clues. And now if you have Shayne and Ally as a relationship, now there's all 4 of them sharing clues. This is putting a target on their back. Because they're now basically 2 people acting as one. I don't have that advantage. I don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend on this bus. Big X on their backs. Gotta break that up. Get rid of them. Second question I've been getting asked a lot is, was that hedge maze difficult? And were the clues difficult? How did you decide who was in first place, who was in second place? All of that. Well, the edit was a little confusing. But what it didn't show is how difficult that maze was. They showed from a couple drone shots that it was big, but it's even bigger when you're in the middle of it and there's all these dead ends and everything looks the same. There's bridges that go up and over. And so my strategy with Mac, first off, I was so happy with Mac as a partner because we're both fit, we're both athletic. What you don't see is we ran probably 5 kilometers in that maze. We were running for about 45 minutes. And the strategy was get up a bridge, up to the top so you can look out over the labyrinth. Of course, that's what you want to do. Bad call. Bad call. What we found out from Shayne talking to him, like, they did the whole challenge in like 7 minutes. It took us 45 minutes. They never went up on a bridge. Not a single time. It's like, if you're on a bridge, that meant you're on the wrong path. They had figured that out. We didn't. And the best thing about Shayne, he told us afterwards, he was like, I just knew I had to go left, right, left. He had this figured out. And he said it was his grandma up above, dearly departed grandma, channeling her energy through him, giving him the answers. I would wish that had made the edit, because that was an insight into Shayne as a person. So good. So he and Ty crushed it. But what they don't show is each leg of the race you had an opportunity to win that leg. So Mac and I, we had a really good second leg. Like, we had made that in like 7 minutes. We thought for sure our second clue was going to be a real clue and not a red herring. But it wasn't. All the clues, now that I see the episode, Ty and Shane got all the right answers. So they knew they were in France. And they thought they were being sneaky by keeping it in their alliance. But there's ears all over the bus. Clues get shared. I had heard about the can-can dance. And I had heard that that was being suggested as Cannes Film Festival. Cannes. Silent S. Cannes. But like the movie projection, like the charade clue hint, it's a movie. Like, maybe it's pointing towards Cannes because that's where the film festival is, but Can the dance isn't south of France, it's Paris. And Moulin Rouge, the rumor around the bus was that's a windmill, that's pointing towards Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I didn't believe that. So many like misdirections and I guess misinterpretation of the clues from the other people on the bus. But what did point to Cannes was, if you remember back to episode 1, the tarmac challenge, one of the clues was Cannes. So we had locked in all 50 of those clues as potentially coming up later in the game. Is this one of those opportunities where it's pointing to Cannes? I didn't think so. I'll get into that later. But Shane, in this challenge, showed how fast he is and his athletic ability. Yeah. People are asking about the Croquet challenge. Have I ever played Croquet before? Did that help me out? And what clues did I see at the chateau? Oh, I saw some clues. Look, I was born in the late 70s. I think every kid in the 80s growing up had a croquet set in the garage. I'd played it, but like when I play croquet, I always think of you put your foot on the ball, and if you touch another ball, you can whack your competitors out into the stratosphere. That wasn't this. It was just one hole or one wicket, and however long it took to get to the wicket, if you beat your competitor, there you go. Shane chose me to play against because he wanted to take me out. We were butting heads. He saw me as a threat. I saw him as a physical threat, not really a geography whiz, but he was a social player. So he had Biggie, he had Ally, he had Ty. He was friendly with everyone on the bus except for me. We just didn't get along. So he chose me because he wanted to take me out. But we also didn't know if it was going to be a physical challenge or a mental challenge. That's why Ty chose Rachel, because she thought maybe it was going to be a physical challenge and Ty could beat Rachel in a strength or what. And Rachel was on the outs. I was on the outs. Kim's been on the outs. But everyone loved Kim. Nobody wanted to took her out because of her comedic relief on the bus. She wasn't a threat. She was smart. But if you can go head to head against Kim, you're going to beat her. Because if it's a physical challenge, she just doesn't have the endurance. You saw that in the map, in the maze. But she was smart. So maybe keep her around. But me, Shane didn't get along with me. He thought I was still the snake from what Josh said on the way out. I was proving my loyalty, right? I showed him the Swiss flag. But the clues we saw, and I was the only one that picked up on the color on the croquet stake, the peg, were the colors of the Olympic rings. And the Olympics had just been in Paris. So I had locked that away. The snacks on the table, they were all Parisian tarts and snacks and cookies. It felt very much Parisian. And the birds. I'll get to that in a bit. You saw on the bus, when we were going into the map room, Shayne saying, Rick doesn't know anything. They are gunning for me, right? They didn't share their clues for me, even though the whispers got around. They thought by putting me in the map room, they're taking out a big target, and they thought they had done a good enough job of keeping the clues away from me. They had leaked. What was interesting is they chose to put me in the map room. They could have chosen to put Kim in the map room instead of Mac. They chose not to. They chose to keep Kim safe because Mac, at this point, is seen as a big threat. She doesn't have a close alliance, but geography-wise, smart. Physical-wise, fast. She's got strength, endurance. So, in my mind right now, the biggest threats in the game are Mac. She was who I was worried about. Right? She's a lawyer, well-traveled, young. She gets the pop culture references that I don't get. I was really hopeful that Mac was going to get out. Are birds really helping me in this game? I'm getting asked that question a lot. And aren't there Eurasian collared doves all throughout Europe? Aren't they in all metropolitan areas, Rick? Didn't you say that? You were just in Rome. You were just in Lake Geneva. Aren't those metropolitan areas? Well, let me tell you. The dove that I heard in Paris, it was the first one I heard over and over and over and over again. It was constantly calling when we were in the labyrinth. And I was logging into that. I never heard them in Rome. I never heard them in Geneva. Well, why is that? Well, the way this game works is, think we got a bus. We've got 150 employees. That's a big entourage. We don't enter the cities until the exit destination, when the loser of the map room gets off and there's a big reveal that this is where we're at. Because we have a huge entourage, we have to stay kind of outside the city. All right? And the challenges, the second challenge is usually, an hour or so outside the city. That city was so big, I heard these doves an hour or so away, I clocked from the final destination. That is a big urban sprawl. That's why I knew it was Paris. Rome is small, right? You go an hour outside of Rome, and you're in fields. You're in olive groves. An hour outside of Geneva, you're in the mountains. But an hour outside of Paris, you're still in Paris proper. It couldn't have been Cannes or the south of France. Other things that led me away from Cannes, bird-wise, is I never saw a gull. I never saw a tern. Like, I had been in Nice that year in February, right? Before the filming. So I knew the birds of Nice. We were not near an ocean. There were no ocean birds flying over. We were in a city. So I knew I could rule out Cannes. So birding, yes, definitely helped. It put me in a giant metropolitan area. Okay. Another question. Is Ty shooting herself in the foot by lying about having met Janae at the labyrinth clue? Oh. Here's a background. The reception that Janae and Pete got when they walked on the bus was so cold. It was so awkward. First off, we were so mad that we had worked so hard to get from 10 to 9 to 8, now to 7. Now we have 2 more players added? Like, the odds of winning now just got worse. It went from 1 in 10 to now 1 in 12. Damn it. And they're pros. You're bringing on reality stars who've done it before, we didn't know at the time if they had won or not. They were recognized, but they already have an advantage of knowing how TV works, knowing how to deal with cameras and microphones, all the distractions that us newbies had, oh, how's my hair? Is my microphone being muffled? That was all old hat to them. All they had to do was focus on the clues. And you saw the reception. It was so cold and so awkward, right? When let's toast to loyalty, meaning, well, there's a pun there, but there's a double meaning. The loyalty is the loyal to the 7 remaining original players, and also Shayne had a giant tattoo across his chest that says loyalty on it, which was kind of a funny double meaning. We're toasting to Shayne, but we're also toasting to the original members of episodes 1, 2, and 3. So Ty lying about having met Janae, just so strategically dumb. Because all you had to do was say, yeah, somebody gave me a clue. I didn't recognize her. I guess it's Janae. We thought she was an actress. Like, they don't have random people giving clues, so it must have been an actor, like the shop owner in the Orvieto, or like the clue givers in the maze, right? These are actors. These are people paid or extras told not to talk. So the fact that they were there, like, I don't know why Ty felt like she had to lie about that. Because Janae instantly told us, so I did meet her on the bridge. I gave her the clue. Like, it instantly put Janae and Ty at odds. And it made an opportunity for me to build some rapport with the new people. We're going to see how that plays out next episode. Last question. What was the best thing about the ending of episode 3? Was it meeting Pete and Janae? No. The background is we've been on a bus for now a week, and we've never been given a positive idea of where we actually are. When we left Rome, we were never told it was Rome. When we left Geneva, we were never told it was Geneva. We just had to triangulate where people had guessed and where people had guessed wrong. But now, we see the Eiffel Tower. Completely game reset. We know where we are. I can now, when we start driving the next day, or actually right after the Eiffel Tower reveal, we can now correctly have a starting point. The game is equal, even playing field for everybody. That was the best thing. And being able to see outside, I wish, because they told us we were in Paris, I wish they would have given us like an hour or two to go hang out on the streets, go shopping for souvenirs, go get a nice coffee at a cafe. But no. All we got to see was that Eiffel Tower, and then we started driving again. The clues on Jeffrey, people keep asking me, like, did you notice the Rolex? Did you notice the fancy Parisian shoes? No. Like, we're not looking at Jeffrey's wrist. And had I seen a Rolex on there in Geneva, I would have assumed Jeffrey's rich. He's a movie star. Of course he's got a Rolex. Wish I'd have done that differently. Didn't even think to look for clues on him as the host. There you go. I made it past episode 3. Where are we going from here? I'd love to see your guess in the comments where we're heading next. Is it going to be Spain, Portugal, Andorra, going east? Don't know. Thanks for watching. If you're on my Patreon, you're getting this before anybody else. If you're watching this on YouTube, hey, join the Patreon. Get these recaps a day early, right after the episode airs. Until next time, all right, happy birding.